everyone, welcome back to the final day of the Netflix application build. So in this video we'll be implementing the important part, that is showing the films as well as the series in the main home screen. So if you find this interesting, let's get started right away. And if you're new to my channel, please hit the like button and also subscribe for more such content. So in the previous videos we had built the login part, the register part, and we had also connected our application with Firebase, and we were storing the users that were being registered. So in today's video we'll get started with the profile screen. Okay, so before that, if you have checked out the previous video, there was a small glitch, a small problem. That is, if the user is already logged in, we are going to navigate to the profile screen, as you can see over here. If the user is not logged in, we are going to show the normal login screen. But in that time interval, that is, if it is checking, it is going to it is going to show us the login screen for a couple of seconds, and then it's going to navigate. But this is not a good user experience. So let me show you that problem once more. So if I refresh the app and then start it once more, you can see that problem happening. So let's give it a try and check it out. Yeah, so now if I start the app, it's gonna show us that login screen for a couple of seconds, and then after it has captured the user, it's going to take us to the profile screen. But we should not show the login screen, right? So we are going to handle that. So that is going to be handled with the help of state. Okay, so let us initialize our use state over here. Let's say const loading comma set loading equals to use state. So initially we are going to say it as false. Okay, so let's come into our use effect, and the first thing we do is we're going to say set loading to true. Okay, and over here let's write another condition. Let's say if there is no user, also set loading to true. Okay, so we are going to access this loading value. That is, if it is true, we are going to show the loading indicator inside our screen. So let's come over here, that is right beneath the keyboard avoiding view, and over here let's write if it is loading, we are going to show something, that is the activity indicator, else we are going to show the normal login screen. Okay, so over here let us initialize a view, and just beneath this we have the text which says loading, and over here let's import the activity indicator from React Native. Let's give it a size of large. Okay, and the color is gonna be red. Okay, so for this view let's give some style. Okay, so let's write a flex of 1, align items of center, justify content of center, and then let's give the background color of black. That's important. Okay, so for the text let's give some styling. So first let's give a text align of center, and then let's give a color of white since the background is black, and some font size and font weight. It's gonna be 500. Yeah, I think that's it. So in the else condition, if that's not the case, if it's not loading, we're simply pretty much copying all the values and then pasting it inside that. Okay, so copy that over here, open up a fragment and paste it over here. Okay, so save the file. So nothing is going to happen now. So we will see the changes if everything is correct once we refresh the app and start it from the beginning. Okay, so yeah, save the file. So let's refresh the app. So now if it is checking this thing, it's gonna be it's gonna be true, that is loading is set to be true. And if it is true, it has to show us this value, that is the loading and the activity indicator. So yeah, let's give that a try. So let's start it again. Okay, there you go. We can see that loading indicator, and then after it has checked the user, after it has captured the user, it is coming to the profile screen, and yeah, we can start doing the profile screen. Okay, so now the next step is let's start designing the profile screen. So now let's go to the profile screen and start implementing the design over there. So over here, you can check out the design. So this is pretty much the profile screen. We have the Netflix logo, and then we have pretty much 4 profiles. And then if we click on any one of the profile, we'll be navigated to the main home screen. Okay. So over here, let's start designing it over here. So let's remove the text. And for this, let's give the style. Okay, let's give the basic style, that is a flex of 1, and then a background color of black. Okay, so now we have a pressable. Let's import it from React Native, and then let's initialize the a text which says profiles and more. And we also need the back icon, so let's go get that. I think that's there in the register screen if I'm not wrong. Nope. We have the image, the input. Okay, never mind, let's go get that icon. So over here, let's go to export icons.fi, and then let's search for the back icon. Okay, I think it is, yeah, this one. So let's import the icon family. Come back to our profile screen, and then paste it just before the text. Okay, so let's give the design. So firstly, let's style the text and give it a color of white. So font size is going to be 20, and then font weight is going to be 500. Okay, so for the pressable, let's give flex direction of row, and then align items of center. Yeah, that's it. Save the file. Yeah, so for the INE icon color, it's gonna be white instead of black. Okay, so for the text, let's give some space towards the left. It's almost touching the icon, so margin left of 3, 6. Okay, that's looking good. So now let's get the image. I think that image is there inside our login screen. Okay, let's copy that. Yeah, it's over here. Let's initialize a view, and let's paste that image. Let's import image from React Native and save the file. So for the view, let's give align items of center, and then justify content of center. Okay, that's looking good. So the next thing is we have a text. So let's initialize another view with the text which says who's watching. Over here, let's give some margin top. Of let's say 50, and then let's give align items of center. So for the text style, over here, let's give the color of gray. I think it's gray. Yeah, it's gray. And then for the font size, it's going to be 16, and then font weight of 600. Save the file. Yeah, I think, yeah, the text is looking good. So now let's access our data, because we need to show the profiles. Okay, so I have already prepared the data, and it is there in the link, in the drive link. I'll be sending it in the description so you can get the data. So pretty much copy the data, and let's come back to our profile screen and then just paste it over here. Okay, so remove all this unnecessary data. Okay, yeah, so save the file. So we have a profiles array, and each of it has a unique id, a image, and then it has the name of the profile. Okay, so we'll be making use of flatlist to render all the data. Okay, so just beneath the text, let's import a flatlist from React Native. So this is going to have a data prop. So for this data we're going to use the profiles thing. Okay, so pretty much write profiles over here. So it's going to be profiles, and then after that we have something called as a render item. So let's write render item. So it's going to take the item, and then we are going to return a pressable. Okay, okay, so inside the pressable we have the image, and then we have the name. Okay, so for the pressable, let's give some styling. That is a margin horizontal of 10 and a padding of 20. So let's initialize our image over here. Okay, and let's give the source. It's gonna take the URI, so it's going to be item dot, I think item dot image. Yeah, let's write item dot image, and for us to see it on the screen, let's provide some width and height. Okay, width of 110 and then height of 110. Let's give some border radius of, let's say, 7 or 6. Okay, and then let's also give a resize mode of contain. Okay, so the next thing we have is a text with which contains the name of the profile. So let's write text. That's going to be item.name. Okay, so for the style, let's first give a text align of center, and then let's also give a color of white, and font size of 15, and then font weight of 500. Save the file. Okay, we can see the text coming up but not the image. Why is that happening? Okay, so let's give another prop for the flat list, that is number of columns. It should be 2. We are not, yeah, now we are able to see the image. I think it was loading. So for the text, let's give some spacing towards the top. All right, yeah, I think now it's looking good. I think for the pressable, let's give some spacing to the top, margin top of 10. All right, yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. So now let's initialize our sign out function at the bottom. So over here, let's write pressable with a text which says sign out. Okay, so over here for the text, let's give this style. So it's going to have a font size of 16, a text align of center, a color of gray, and I think that's it, and some spacing towards the top. Let's say margin top of 15. Okay, so let's increase the font size to be 18. It's looking a bit small. Okay, so now let's provide an onPress event to our pressable. So let's say onPress equals to sign out user. So let's copy this function and define it right at the top. Yeah, so over here, let's write const sign out user equals to, we're going to take the sign out function from the Firebase. Okay, so we're going to get the auth from the Firebase file. You're going to write dot then, after signing out, what we should do, we should send the user to the login screen. Okay, so we're going to say, I think navigation is not initialized, so let's do that over here. So const navigation equals to use navigation. Okay, so import it from the correct dependency, and then over here come back to our function and let's write navigation dot replace to the login screen. Okay, I think that's what we wanted to do. Else catch of error, if there is any error, let's pretty much console.log the error. Okay, nope. Let's write console.log of error. Okay, that's it. So save the file. Yeah, so I think pretty much we have implemented everything inside of the profile screen, basically the design part, that is rendering the flat list, showing the profiles, and then also writing the sign out function. Okay, so if you press on the sign out function, it's going to take you to the login screen. That's going to work. So now let's implement in such a way that if you press on any one of the profile, you need to access that profile with the name and the image, and we need to have that information in any part of the screen. So for that we need to create a global context, so that we have access to each and every component as well as screen of our application. Okay, so the next step is to create a global context, so let's go do that now. So let's go to the file tree and then create a new file, that is our context.js, so that we can have access to our profile in each and every component and screen of our application. So let's go to that real soon. So press on app.js and then new file. It's going to be context.js. Yeah, so we're going to follow the same thing that we have done in our previous application. So I'm just going to paste the code right now. Okay guys, I've just pasted the code. So this is pretty much basically the same thing that we are doing from our previous applications, that is by creating a new context and then defining that context. Okay, so over here we have taken the use state, and then we have set the profile and set profile, and then we are passing it as value over here, that is profile and set profile. Okay, and we are exporting the required terms. Okay, so now we have just initialized our context. So for this to work, we need to include it inside our app.js. Okay, so let this be movie items instead of cart items. So let's import it as well. So over here let's change it to be movie items.provider. Alright, so now let's go to the app.js and then include our context. So over here let's say profile context. Okay, so let's wrap everything around it. Okay, so put it over here and then save the file once to check everything is working fine. Yeah, so now everything is looking good. So now let's go back to our profile screen and let us get the values that we just initialized in our context file. So let's write const profile comma set profile equals to, we'll be using the use context for that. So use context of the movie items. Okay, so save the file. So whenever we press on any one of the profile on our screen, we should take the image as well as the name of the person. Okay, so let's go to the pressable where we are defining that. I think that is over here. Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to initialize the on press event. So let's do that. So on press, oh yeah, we are going to say set profile of that particular item that we are clicking on. Okay, is the spelling right? Set profile, let's copy that properly and paste it over here. Okay, so let's give it a try. Save the file once and let's just console log the profile value. What is it coming? So let's write console.log selected profile. Okay, so initially it should give us nothing. So when I press on the first value, Okay, it's just giving us an object but not the correct value, right? Why is that happening? Okay, but still we're getting object. Why is that happening? Let's see over here if anything is gone wrong. Oh, okay, I think that should not be there. We should remove the plus sign. Yeah, so now it's working properly. So if I click on the second profile, we are getting the image ID as well as the name, the third one and the fourth one. Yeah, so now it's working absolutely fine. So now what should happen is, if you press on the any one of the profile, you should navigate to the home screen. So before that, let's just show a loading screen, and after that we're going to the home screen. Okay, so let's create our loading screen first. Let's press on the screens folder and then new file. So it's gonna be loading screen.js and rnfes. Okay, so for this, let's write this style. So it's gonna be a flex of 1. Okay, a background color of black, align items of center, and then justify content of center. Okay, so now beneath this, let's initialize a view with this text. Okay, which says loading, and just after the text, let's initialize the activity indicator from React Native. Okay, so the size is gonna be large and the color is gonna be red. Okay, so save the file. So let's come back to our profile screen, and after we have set the profile, we are going to say navigate to the loading. Okay, so we have not initialized our loading screen inside a stack navigator, so let us do that. So over here, let's pretty much copy one of them and then paste it over here. So the name is going to be loading. Okay, so for the component, it's gonna be loading screen. Yeah, here also header shown should be false. Save the file, and yeah, save this also. So now let's give it a try. Yeah, so we are going to the loading screen. So it is currently in the loading screen itself. So this should not happen. So after we go to the loading screen, let's say after 1 second, we should navigate to the main home screen. So firstly, let's create our home screen, that is our main home screen. So new file, and then home screen.js rnfes. Save the file. So now let's come back to the loading screen, and then okay, before that, let's initialize our home screen in our stack navigator. Okay, so the name is gonna be home, and for the component is gonna be home screen. Yeah, over here also header shown should be false. Let's come back to the profile screen, I mean the loading screen. So we are gonna write a listener over here, that is by making use of use effect. Let's import it from React. Okay, yeah, so this is gonna run once when the loading screen loads. Okay, that's why we have provided the empty dependency array. So we're gonna make use of a set timeout function. Okay, and we are gonna run this after 1 second, that is 1000 milliseconds. So firstly, let's initialize our navigation over here. So const navigation equals to use navigation imported from the correct dependency, and over here we are going to say navigation dot navigate to the home. Okay, so this when this loading screen loads, this use effect is triggered off, and this set timeout is again triggered off. So that is after 1 second we're going to execute this line, that is it's going to go to the home screen. Let's give it a try. Yeah, so there you go, it's working absolutely fine. So let's go to the home screen, and let's make use of a safe area view. Okay, and instead of the view, let's write the safe area view. Okay, yeah, so now this is the main home screen. So over here we will start designing our movies and web series. Okay, so the initial part of the design is the header, so let's do that part now. So in the header, the first thing to display is the film as you saw in the demo video. So let's check out the design once more. Okay, so as you can see, we have the image coming up, and on top of the image, we have the Netflix logo, and towards the right, we have some design that is a profile and the search bar. And similarly, on top of the image, we have some design part over here and as well as the bottom over here. Okay, so that's pretty much about the header part. So let's start designing the header. So before that, let us create a new component that is header inside our components folder. So let's press new file and then let's write header.js and let's write rnfes. So save the file once. Okay, so this is our header component. So let us import our header component inside our home screen. Okay, right after the text, let's import header from the components folder and then save the file. Yeah, so you can see the header coming up. So inside a header we will get access to the films. Okay, so for that we'll be making use of the tmdb.com where we will send the API request and then fetch the films that they are sending. So for that we'll be making use of a listener, that is use effect. So let's initialize our use effect and import it from React. Okay, so we are gonna run the use effect only once when the header component loads, so that's the reason I've provided the empty dependency array. Okay, so save the file header and then let's come back to our tmdb API. Okay, so pretty much if you give your login credentials and then sign up over here, there is an, if you come to settings, there is an option called as API over here. So this is pretty much the API key. So you should answer some questions of your app and then you will be granted the API key. So based on the API key, we'll be making requests so that we can get the access to the films as well as series. Okay, so now let us initialize a function inside our use effect so to get the data. So let it be a movie data equals to, it's going to be a async function, so let's write async. Okay, so over here we'll be making use of the javascript fetch. So let's write await fetch and the fetch will take the URL that we need to pass. So let me just copy the URL right now. Okay, I've pretty much copied the URL now. So now let us continue writing it. Okay, yeah, so after we fetch, let's write dot then, that is if we get the response. So dot then of response, firstly we are going to convert it into JSON. Okay, so let's write response, let's write the correct spelling. So it's going to be response.json, and now let's console.log the data whatever we are getting. Okay, so let's write again dot then of the data. Over here let's write console.log of data for the time being. Yeah, I think everything is fine, so let's save the file. I think yeah, we have not imported our API key, so let's do that. So let's firstly get the API key from the website. So pretty much copy this and come back over here and paste it here. Okay, so actually this is not the correct way of calling the API key like this. Okay, so this should be inside a .n file, and then by making use of process.n this particular value we should use that, but never mind, we'll follow this this method, and I don't mind sharing the API key. Okay, so save the file once. Let's check the console. I don't see anything. Okay, because we have not called our function over here. Let's call a movie data function and let's check the logs. Yeah, so there you go, we are getting everything, all the data. Let's see from the start. So yeah, so our data is stored inside our results array. Okay, so for that this should be data.results to get the correct array values, right? So it should be data.results. Yeah, so now it's working fine. So we are going to implement in such a way that whenever the user visits the home screen, we should show a different image. Okay, so we should refresh the home screen and then show the different image. So for that, before that, let us initialize our state. So we will be storing our movies inside of a state. So let's write const movies comma set movies equals to use state. and initially it's going to be an empty array. So over here, after we get the data, that is, instead of console.logging our data, we are going to say set movies and access the data.results. And as I told, we'll be refreshing the movie every once the user visits the home screen, that is the header component. So we'll be making use of the random function, and then we'll be accessing each movie every time. Okay, so let's write math.floor of math.random. Okay, movies.length. Okay, I think it's not movies, it's going to be data.results. So data.results dot length and -1. Okay, so every time we come to the home screen, we're accessing a new value. Okay, there is some brackets error. Let's find that out. Oh yeah, I think one more error should come over here. Okay, yeah, so now it's working fine. Yeah, so now we have no error. So now what we do is, okay, can't find use state. Let's import use state first from React. Okay, so if you come over here, yeah, so save the file once. Yeah, now we have access to all the data. Okay, so if you come to the header.js, let's console.log the movies first. Okay, so yeah, every time we are getting a new movie, let's save the file once. Yeah, so there you go. Every time we are refreshing and then we are fetching a new film altogether. So now by making use of this data, we will be rendering our design, okay, based on this. So for that, let us firstly initialize our image background. That's the first thing we require. So image, well, let's import it from React Native. So the source for this is going to be a little different, so I'll be copying that right now. Yeah, so the source is going to be this one. Okay, so if you go to the tmdb docs, you can check that out. So we have two types of images, that is the poster path, and then I think there is one more thing that is called as a backdrop path. So we'll be using the poster path for now. Okay, so let's give the style for the images, for the background. Let's give a width of 100% and height of 480, and let the position is gonna be relative. Okay, so let's give a format once and then save the file. You should see the image coming up. Yeah, there you go, it's working fine. So now let's remove the home screen text, that is this one. All right, yeah, so as I save the file, you are getting the new film. Okay, because we have used a random function altogether. And inside the header, yeah, let's remove the header text. All right, so now what happens is inside the image background, we are going to design this part, the top part, so which is going to contain the Netflix logo. So let's initialize the view. I think we already have the logo inside our login screen. Yeah, let's copy that and paste it over here. We also have a second view which contains the search bar as well as the profile. So let's grab the search bar right now. So let's go to export.icons.fyi and let's search for search. Okay, so let's take it from and design, import the icon family once, and then yeah, paste it over here. Again, copy the render component code, and we're going to paste it over here inside the view. So after this, we have the profile. So let's initialize a pressable, import it from React Native. Okay, so we have the profile coming up. So for that, so since we have pressed on any one of the profile, it should be stored in the global context. So let's initialize the value first, that is over here. So let's say const profile comma set profile equals to use context of the movie items, right? That was the thing we initialized. Okay, I think this code is pretty much there in our profile screen. Let's come back to the header, movie items. Let's import movie items from the context file. Okay, so the next thing we have is the profile design. So after we have rendered the search bar, let us give the image. Okay, so I think image is imported. No, it's not. Let's import image from React Native. So after that, so the image is going to take the source, right? So source, so the URI is going to be profile dot, or let's check the correct value. What does it hold? So if you come to the profile screen, just a minute. Yeah, it is going to be profile.image. So let's give profile.image and let's give some basic style. Let's give a width of 70 and a height of 70. And yeah, I think that's it about the first top of the header. I think let's save the file. Okay, everything is working fine. The profile pic is looking a bit bigger, so let it be 30 and then 30. All right, so now what we do is let's come to the top view. Over here, let's give the style. It's gonna be flex direction of row and then align items of center. Let's also give justify content of space between. So for the and design icon, the color is gonna be white instead of black. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it. And for the and design icon, let's give some space towards the right because it's almost touching the profile. So style, let's give margin right of 7. Okay, so save the file. So for this view, let's give the style, that is a flex direction of row and then align items of center. All right, so for the profile itself, that is the image, let's give some spacing towards the right. It's almost touching the right part of the screen, so margin right of 10. Okay, let's give it 10 over here, that is a space to the icon. Okay, so for the image, let's give a border radius as well. It's gonna be 5. All right, so save the file. Okay, so I think everything's looking good. So let's remove the margin top for the image, that's not looking correctly. Okay, yeah. All right, so the next part we have is this thing. Okay, let's do that. So let's initialize one more view for that. So for this we have 3 texts that are coming up. So let's write text. We have TV shows, movies, and then categories. Okay, so let's write TV shows. Then movies, and at last we have the categories. Okay, so let's give the style for the view. So let's give a flex direction of row, align items of center, justify content of center. Let's give a width of 80%. Okay, and then we have a bit of margin 20. So for the text, let's give a font weight and a font size of 17 and then font weight of bold, and then we have the color of white. So let's give that, and let's pretty much copy the styles for all of the 3 texts. Okay, one over here and then over here as well. So yeah, let's save the file and see how it is looking, and let's give some spacing to the top to the view. I think we have given the margin, that should work. Yeah, so you are able to see everything coming up. Okay, let's give some spacing, that is a bit of padding left of 20. Okay, so for the middle icon, I mean for the middle text, let's give some margin horizontal of 10. Okay, 15. Yeah, I think 15 is looking good. Yeah, I think that's it about the second part of the design. Okay, if you want, we can increase the margin horizontal to 20. Yeah. So the next part we have is the bottom part of the design. This also comes in the header itself. So let's go do that. So this is gonna come after the header. So before that, let us give the background color of black to the entire home screen. So let's come to the home screen, and over here, let's give the style, that is a flex of 1, and then a background color of black, BLACK. Okay. Yeah, let's come back to the header. So right after the image background, we are going to initialize our second view, which is going to contain all of this. Okay, so it is going to have one more view. So the first thing it has is the plus icon. So let's go get that icon. So over here, let's search for plus. Yeah, let's get this. I think design is already imported. So over here, let's write that up, and it's gonna have a text which is gonna say my list. Yeah, so after this view, we have another view that is gonna have the play button. So let's write that, and we also have the third view as well. So for the third view, we have the info button. So let's get that real soon. So search for info, this one from design, copy the render component code because it's already imported, and instead of here, just copy paste it over here. Okay, so instead of my list, it's gonna have info. So this is gonna contain the play button. So the icon we have is play, right? Let's get that icon also. So search for play. Yeah, it's this one. Let's copy and typo, and let's paste it over here. Let's copy the render component code also, and then we're going to paste it right here in the second view. Okay, so for the top view, let's give the style, that is flex direction of row, line items of center, and then justify between. Okay, save the file once. Yeah, you should see everything coming up, but because it is black in color, we are not able to see anything. Yeah, so for the text over here, let's give a font size of 17, and then a font weight of bold. The color is going to be white. So the same piece of styling for the first and third one. Okay, but with the second one, the background is white. So let's come to the second view, and let's give a background color of white, a bit of padding, a bit of border radius of 6, and then yeah, so for the style, let's copy the same thing, and instead of white, let's give it black. Okay, so for the icon, the play icon, it's going to be black because the background is white. So over here, yeah, it is defaultly by black itself. Okay, so let's change the color of the icons, that is the first and third one, white and then white. Yeah, so save the file once. Okay, I think we have not given flex direction of row for the second view. So let's say flex direction of row, and then align items with center. Okay, so all right, let's give some spacing to the top view, that is margin top of 15. All right, so now what we do is, for the icon, let's give a text align of center because it's not in the correct position. Okay, let's pretty much copy that and give it to the third icon as well, and give a format once. So this is pretty much for the bottom part of the header design. Okay, and I think, yeah, it has some space. I think let's give space around instead of space between. Let's see how does it look. So space around, yeah, I think space around is the correct one. So let's give some spacing to the play button. It's not spaced out. So over here where we are giving the padding, let's give a padding of 8, and let's increase the width to be 200 or 120. I think 120 is good. Let's try justify content center, align item center. So everything is aligned centrally and it's looking nice. Okay, yeah, so I think we have completed the header part. Okay, nice and clean. So I think one thing that is missing is spacing to the text. Okay, so let's give that. So over here for the first and third text, let's give some margin top of 3. Okay, this also comes to the first text, that is over here. Alright, so we have designed the header part in a nice and clean way. So the next thing we design is the horizontal list of rows that are coming. Okay, so let's go to that right now. So the first thing to design in the horizontal movie list is a trending component, as you've seen in the demo video. So let's go do that now. And before that, we forgot to do one thing inside a header.js. That is, if you come to the first part of the header where we have the profile image, that is over here, we have not provided the onPress event for that. So let's go to that. So for that, let's initialize a pressable over here, and let's put the image inside the pressable, and for the pressable, let's provide the onPress event. So we're going to take a function. We're going to say navigation dot navigate to the profile screen. Okay, and then save the file. Yeah, I think we have initialized navigation and use navigation is imported, and let's give that a try. Yeah, now that's working fine. Okay, we are able to come to the correct profile and everything is working properly. So next thing we need to do is a trending component, as I told, and yeah, let's remove this pressable. I think that's the extra pressable that we have initialized. Yeah, so now let's come to our components folder and then create a trending component, which is gonna come right after the header. So let's say trending component.js. Okay, let's write rnfes, save the file once. So let's import our trending component into our home screen, that is after the header. So trending component. Yeah, so now let's come back to the trending component and let's see if it is showing up. So let's give a color of white. Okay, yeah, it's working fine. So now we are gonna show the trending list of movies that and series, okay, with the number from 1 to 10, as you've seen in the demo video. So for that, let's pretty much go to the header. Okay, so let's copy the same use effect that we initialized. So because this is for trending itself, so let's copy the use effect, and then let's come to our trending component and then paste it over here. Let's import use effect first, and next we want is the state, that is movies. All right, let's import use state as well. Okay, so next let's give the access to the API key by copying the value. All right, I think, yeah. So instead of getting a random value over here, we are just going to say set the movies to be data results, because we are not using any kind of random function. We have to just get all the data that is coming from the API. Okay, so it's just going to be data dot results. Okay, so save the file once, and let's console dot log the movies. I think we are going to get it, that's for sure. So let's just map through the movies and then get the top 10. Okay, so for that, let's access the movies, and then we are going to take the slice method, and we're going to only take from 0 to 10 and then map it over. So for each movie, let's even take the ID. We are going to return a pressable. So let's say pressable, import it from React Native. So the first thing we want is the text. Okay, and the second thing is the image. I think the image has been already done in the header part. It's going to be the same thing. I guess it's this one. Yeah, this is the one. We'll not be using image background. It's just going to be a normal image tag. So let's import it. Again, we're using the poster part and not the backdrop path. So for the text, we are just going to take the ID itself. So ID, what we get initially is 0. So we're going to say +1. So it's going to be from 1 to 10. Okay, so now let's import image from React Native. And nextly, let's give the style for the image. Okay, so width of 105, and it's going to take a height of 152, some border radius of 6, and then we have the resize mode of cover. Okay, so save the file once. Let's see if everything is working fine. Okay, nothing is showing up on the screen. Okay, firstly, let's put this inside a scroll view because we want it in a horizontal fashion. So let's write scroll view, import it from React Native, and then map over the films. So for the scroll view, let's provide the prop that is horizontal, and then let's give show horizontal scroll indicator, and we're going to set it to be false. Okay, so save the file once. Yeah, give it a try. Pretty much we're not able to see anything. Why is that happening? Let's see if we are getting the movies. So let's console.log the movies, and let's remove the console log from the header because we're gonna get it 2 times, or else save the file. Yes, we are able to see the films, but it's not showing up on the screen, right? Okay, first let's check the source correctly, if it is coming, if copied from the header file. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be movies. Oh, okay, my bad. It should be movie dot the poster path because we are taking the value from there. Okay, so now I guess the image should show up, right? Save the file. Nope. Yes, we are able to see the films. Yes, now it's working absolutely fine, right? Yeah, so now let's start styling the ID. So before that, let's provide some margin to the image tag. Okay, all right. So now for the ID, that is a text tag, let's give the style. So let's say a font size of 85, and then a color of white, and it's gonna have a font weight of bold. Okay, let's give a position of absolute, a top value of 40, and then right of 90, and a bit of margin top. So this is the style for the text. So format once, And then yeah, so for the pressable, let's say flex direction of row and then align item center, because we want it to come in a row fashion. Save the file. Yes, it's working fine, but one problem is that the the text is coming just below the image. So let's give a z-index value. Let's keep it 5. All right, yes, now it's working fine. We are able to see the trending component working properly. Okay, so nice and clean. So now let's remove the trending text that's not required, the first one. Let's write some spacing. It's almost touching the head part. So style, let's give a margin top of 30, 20. Yeah, I think that's looking good. So now the next part is, let's come back to the home screen. So instead of this thing, safe area view, let's use a scroll view. Same thing goes over here. All right, so the next thing we do is the remaining films, as you have seen in the demo video. So let's go do that part right now. For the remaining movie list rows, firstly let's import the data that is required, that is the movie URLs. So I have imported already into my data folder, if you can see over here, that is movie urls.js. So this link, so this is stored inside the drive over here, so you can pretty much get the link. I'll be you can pretty much get the data. I'll be sharing the link in the description below. So yeah, after copying the data into a separate file, let's come to our trending, not over there, into the home screen. And after that, after the trending component, let us initialize the movie rows. Okay, firstly let's create that component inside our components folder. So over here, new file, then rnfes. Okay, so over here let's import the movie rows. So let's come back to the movie rows, and first let's import the data that we have inside our data folder. So let's say import movie URLs from the data folder, and let's initialize it to a value. So const data equals to movie URL. So over here, let's map over the data. So let's say data.map. For every movie inside the data array, we're gonna return a new component all over. That's gonna be movie row. Firstly, let's create that component inside a components folder. So let's say movie row.js. Okay, so rnfes again to get the shorthand snippet. Save the file once, and over here let's import the movie row component from the correct folder. And over here let's pass the props, that is the title. That's what we want. It's gonna be movie dot. Okay, if you go over here, it's gonna be movie dot name. Next thing we want is the URL. So let's say URL, it's gonna be a movie dot the URL itself. Okay, so URL. Okay, so save the file once. So now let's go into our movie row, get the props over here, that is the name, the title, and the URL. So title and URL. So again, let us make use of the use effect that is there inside the home screen or the header. Let's copy the same piece of use effect, and inside our movie row, let's paste that over. Import use effect once, and the next thing we want is the state to store the values. So for that, let's copy the movies as well as the API key. All right, next, instead of passing the value over here, that is the hard-coded value, let's simply pass the URL. Okay, so let's pretty much come back to our trending component and copy everything that is there inside the scroll view. Not the trending, I think we need the header component, right? That is from the text. No, I think we need the trending component because the design part is similar. So let's copy the entire scroll view, come back to the movie rows and then paste it over here. Let's remove the text that's not required. We just want the image to be shown. Let's also remove this. That's also not required because we only have one child. And yeah, we don't need to slice. We can get the entire data that is contained inside the movies array. Okay, so again, yeah, it's gonna be same thing. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's give it a try. Can't find use state. Okay, can't find scroll view. Let's import that as well. I think even pressable is not imported, right? So pressable image, we also need image. Yeah, I think that's it. Save the file once. Okay, movies is not defined. Oh, I know why that is happening, because it should just be the rated or results, right? I think now it should work. So give a format. Yeah, we are not using any kind of random function, so that's the reason it's not working. Yeah, I think now it's working fine. So just I think before the scroll view we should enter the text. So the text is gonna contain the title, right? This is coming from the props over here. So for the title, let's give the style, let's say font size of 19, and then font weight of bold, also color of white, and yeah, let's give it a try. Okay, I think that's looking nice. Yeah, so pretty much we have imported all the films. Okay, I think it's taking some time to load the images, so that's why for some rows we are seeing fully, for some rows just complete 2 or 3 images. Yeah, I think that's it about the final screen, that is the main home screen, where we have rendered all the image as well as series. Okay, we have designed pretty much 3 components over here. That is a header, the running component, as well as the movie rows, which contains single movie row because we have passed the props, that is the title and URL, and we are making again the fetch request. Yeah, and getting the data. So that's it about the final video of the Netflix application project. Okay, so I think that's it for this project. Let's see you in the next project, and then thank you for watching.